Good evening, everybody. My name is Karim, and I have the honor of being your Toastmaster today, which is to say, it's a grand way of saying I'll be your host, and I'm really honored to do that. So before I say anything else, I think I'm supposed to bank us, and I declare this meeting open. Always wanted to do that, always wanted to do that. Okay, I'm going to tell you something that I want you to listen to very carefully. A lot of us grow old without growing up. Let me say that again. A lot of us grow old without growing up. Let me explain. We all go through the same stages, the same phases. As children, we grow up playing roles. We play the role of a child, you know, you have your parents, and then your siblings, you play the role of a brother or a sister, and then you play the role of a student, of a husband, or a wife, father, a mother. And all of these roles keep educating you. You keep growing as a person, not just as those roles, but as a person as well. But then, I think, from my experience, the real growing starts when all these roles are finished, and then you suddenly are faced with yourself. Okay, who am I? Where am I going? So it's not, your person is not your job. Your person is you. And I can see that from everybody sitting here, all of you want to grow, no matter where you are, because this is what you're doing for you. Not to be a better husband, not to be a better wife, not to be a better student. You're doing this for you, to be a better speaker. Because at any stage in your, for example, for me, I had done all those roles. But there was a part of me that when I was listening to a speech, when I was at a conference, I wanted to say something. I wanted to raise my hand and say, well, what about this? You didn't cover this. And I didn't, because I said, oh, well, maybe it's a stupid thing. Maybe, you know, I just did not have enough confidence in me to stand up and say, look, this is what I think. And this is what we're doing here. We are building ourselves. And let me tell you this. Another thing that I want you to listen to very carefully. Failure is the ladder that you climb to get to the top and be successful. So every step you take, every step you lose, every step you fail, is actually the step that you've gone up to reach that goal of success. That's what we're doing here. So every time you come up here and you feel like, oh, I bombed this, I could only get up there and I could say, oh my God, I don't know what to say. But the very fact that you came up here and you smiled and looked at everybody in the eye, you crossed that first step. You won. So do that. So that brings me to the tip of the day. It's essential what we do here. I want you to realize that we don't judge on what you say. We only evaluate, and there's a difference between the two. Judgment is something else. We don't say, well, this person is like this and this person is like this. We only evaluate on how well you spoke something, how well you made us understand what you were saying, how well you carried your point across. That's all it is. So we all learn. I'm learning, you're learning. So my job today is to keep your attention, to get you focused, and to have fun. And to do my job, I have a bunch of helpers, which I can't see really, but I do. We have roles here, so let me see. We have the art counter. Please introduce yourself. Oh, you can stay here. Yes, you can stay. Yes.
My name is Dorian, and my role is our counter is to note and keep track on words used or sounds used as a crutch, pause filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. I will note any uses of the crutch or filler words such as and, well, but, are, and so on.
And we have the grammarian.
Good evening, everyone. Today we have an archaic word. It's called wayworn. It's wearing with traveling. So, for example, she was wayworn at the long trip, or the wayworn traveler threw himself on the bed and fell asleep. So it means if you are tired of traveling, then you are wayworn.
And Tolet, what else would you do?
Yeah, and I also, of course, it's my main role is I will evaluate your grammar. Not very simple, because we encourage everyone to speak. W-A-Y-W-O-R-N.
So this means tired of something.
Travel.
Of travel.
Is that right? Wayworn?
Yes.
Yes.
What does it
The
mean?
word of the day today for
Okay, worn actually, worn, something that's worn means something that's been used a lot. And it's showing signs of wear and tear. Like it's not new anymore, it's been used a lot. Worn, that's worn. So way means the path of traveling. So essentially, if you put two together, it means that you're tired of traveling on that road. You're way worn, you're a tired traveler. I am a way worn. I'm way worn on the road of life, I guess. I'm not, but that's an example. Anyway, so now I'll call upon the timer. We have the timer.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My role tonight is timer. As all of you know, time is quite an important part of our life. So here in Toastmasters, we try to help you to start your time better. So I have 3 cards. When I show you a green card, you should speak, talk until I will show you green card. So this means the minimum limit of your speech. Then I have a yellow card, and this means that you reach the middle of your speech. And when I show you red card, it means that you reach the maximum of your limit of your speech. So try to stop to conclude your speech.
Thank you so much, Olga. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about our club here. We do have a whole team. Tom Bartowski is the president. And unfortunately, he's not here. But we have the VP Education, Behzad Hakimov. And I would like to ask Behzad to come up and introduce himself and also tell us a little bit about how the club was formed and give us some logistical information about the club.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a bit unexpected.
Yes.
Okay, good evening one more time, ladies and gentlemen, dear fellow Toastmasters. As she mentioned, I am Vice President of Education of Almaty Toastmasters Club, and my main duty is to organize a meeting, to fill the roles, to prepare agenda, and to make sure that we have regular and very good, productive meetings. If you have any questions regarding the function of the club, to become a member, you can come after the meeting and ask me, or you can go and ask Olga, because she's Vice President of Membership of the club.
Can you tell us something about the club itself?
Okay, the club itself is a public speaking club. It encourages people, participants, to improve their public speaking skills, to become more self-confident, and to be successful in their personal and professional life. And the club has more than 10,000 branches around the world. In Kazakhstan, we have a branch in Astana, which was the first one in Kazakhstan. The second is in Almaty, and there is one more in Chimkent. So every year there is a competition worldwide organized by the International Toastmasters Club, where even Kazakhstan can participate, but we haven't participated yet. So we are thinking about it this year, and maybe somebody among us would be the champion of Kazakhstan at least, and then can join the international competition, which is held in different locations every year. So you can go and Google and you can find videos on YouTube as well how it is conducted and how can we become participant of this competition.
Thank you so much. Then we have a VP of Public Relations. You can just state what you do, Alia.
My role is not PR.
Oh, no, oh, that's, sorry, that's, Olga, membership.
Yeah,
Membership, yes.
I'm VP of membership, and if you want to become an official member of our club, you can come to me. If you will become an official member, you will have opportunity to fill up all 10 projects, and also to receive certificate of international Toastmasters organization. So if you have any questions regarding membership, come to me and I will inform you.
So we are missing our VP of Public Relations, and then we have our treasurer, Greg Heber.
Hi everyone. My job is probably the most simplest in the whole club. I just collect the money from the fees every 6 months and look after the finances, which is quite easy. We don't spend a lot of money. We don't have a lot of money. If you do want to join, you can come and talk to any of the officers at the end of the meeting. But it's $57 for the first 6 months and then $37 for every 6 months after that. So yeah, I'll go up. Thank you.
So our next officer is Sergeant at Arms, and it's Elias. He's not here, but if you were here, he would tell you to please silence your phones so that we don't have any disruptions. So please, if you haven't done that, do it now. So now, oh yes.
She's on the list.
All right, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm also an officer of the club. My responsibility and role is a secretary. So I suppose you know what secretary does. It's the basic thing to take up the ideas and collect other ideas from newcomers. Well, whatever you would like to know about the club, whatever you want to us to include into our meetings, you're most welcome to tell me, and I'll put it into our meeting agenda and we are going to discuss it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So what we do here, for those of you who are new, the way we run it is we have the first section of prepared speeches. Then after the prepared speeches, we have evaluation for those speeches. Today we have 3 speakers and we have 3 evaluators. And then after that, we have an extremely interesting session of table topics. And that's the time where I want you to remember what I told you before. Please take the first step to success and come up here when Gohar asks you the questions. Do volunteer, because otherwise she and I would pick out each one of you to come. If somebody does not want to be called, please let us know. Okay? All right. And then in the end, we have the evaluation from the R counter and the timer and the Marion, and there'll be evaluation about that. And we do vote for the best speaker. And it's not that you would be judging them in any way. You just vote for the person you think reached you the most or made more sense to you, or you found most interesting. So let's start with our first speech. It's an icebreaker today. The icebreaker is the first project that we do when we join the club, or even before we are a member. That's the first experience we have, is somewhere where you tell a little bit about yourself to the group. You introduce yourself to the group. And today I'm going to call Elmira. So Elmira, I think, has been attending our sessions off and on, and she's doing an icebreaker today, which I'm really looking forward to. She has been working in marketing for about 10 years, and her hobby is active stuff. She will go up the mountains. This is how she relaxes. She will go up the mountains, she will hike, she will jog, and that's relaxation to her. And she loves spending time with her friends. She likes playing board games. And she's here because she likes meeting the people. We are a great bunch. Everybody wants to come and meet us here. And she wants to improve her speaking skills, of course. So please welcome Elmira. She's talking about don't kill a club.
So, this and say hello.
Hello.
Hello, dear Toastmasters fellows. And I would like to ask you, have you ever thought that we have killers between us? Hmm? Great, turn around.
We have killers.
Maybe it's Ola. So, I also would like to ask you, Yedika, please look at the mirror. Who do you see here?
Myself?
Yes, but I can say that I can see a child that you killed maybe once, at least once in your life. And today, I'm gonna prove all you how it's very important to stay a child in your life. So have you ever noticed how children communicate with each other? So recently I was in the airport and I was observing children, how they played with each other. They were from different countries, they were just speaking on different languages, but they still could understand each other and they had so much fun. This is really interesting and it was like, surprise for me. And also I have relatives who moved to US 3 years ago. So it's my brother, his wife and 2 children. So 3 years passed and now guess who know English better?
Children.
Yes, children. Meanwhile, my brother and his wife still keep trying to learn English, And remember, when we were children, we always was asking questions. Why this, why that, and that. It was really interesting to us, everything. And now, what we are doing now, if you want to know some information, we just even sometimes don't think, we don't analyze, we just go to internet and say, okay, Google, and we get ready information. So maybe it's time to sometimes just to explore this world, to ask questions ourselves. And you maybe also notice that we are always busy. We go to the work, after we go to the gym classes, then we go to English classes, we go and just make our housework. We are always busy. And our mind is always thinking about money, about devaluation, about career, about relations, about everything. And sometimes it seems like we are not enjoying the moment. And remember, when we were children, when it was raining, we went outside, we dumped to the puddle with the water, and when we saw the rainbow, we were really happy. Maybe now it's time sometimes just to go outside, go to the park, just collect these trees leaves, just collect interest in your body, and it's just kind of easy things, but it's really, it will make you happy. And do you remember when we were children, how we could laugh? For example, my first laugh was in kindergarten. So I laughed so much, and my love was so deep and so pure to that boy. And really, children, they could lie. If they want to cry, they cry. If they want to laugh, they laugh. They just express natural things. Maybe sometimes it's very necessary also to be natural. Express natural feelings. So please don't forget that we are all children. And it's very necessary to stay inside and keep your inner child. And now, I would like to ask you, do I have 1 minute? Yeah. And please, now I would like to ask you all, please, close your eyes. All together. Close your eyes. Just listen to me. Please don't. Listen to me and try to concentrate on your feelings and use your imagination. Imagine you're in the forest. You go down to the path and you see one house. You come closer and you see light in the window. You come closer and you can see people sitting at the table. They are talking to each other. They have fun. And you can recognize your parents when they're young. You come inside the house and you see a little child who is playing with toys. This child is 5 years old and it's you. Remember how you were a child. Remember how you played with lovely toy and your first friends. Remember your first failure and how your parents supported you when you cried. Remember your first success and how your parents were proud of you, how they kissed you and how they hugged you. Now, please come closer to that child. It's you. Take him and hug him and say him, how do you love him and play with him. Be friends with him and don't forget about that child.
Thank you so much. It's fantastic. What a wonderful time she took us back to. It's so lovely to be a child all over again. We have to wake up though. But that's part of, I think, what I would understand really well, that I was alluding to also, that, you know, you never stop learning. Just as you did as a child, you never stop learning to your last day. Thank you so much for that, Elmira. That was really enjoyable, very animated. So now I will call our second speaker, which is Roman Kim. He's also doing his icebreaker, that is his first project along the same lines. Roman is working with LLP Corcel Techs in Kazakhstan, and he's working there as a project manager. This company deals with electrical equipment, and he's been working there for 2 years. He likes to read books and play Russian billiards. I don't know how exactly that game is played. Maybe when you do your later on projects, you can show us how that is played. And if he had a choice, and if he could go back in time, he would like to go back in the time of the pirates and the ships fighting in Europe where they could loot, and he probably wants to make a lot of money that way because it's easy money. So that's where you want to go to travel in time. And in another 10 years, 8 or 10 years, he thinks he will find out what he wants to do, what he wants to be, which is an excellent time frame, I think. Any time that you learn what you want to be is a good time. And he likes coming here for, you know, again, to meet interesting people, to listen to interesting stuff, and to improve his English. So welcome, Ron. Did you say your name right, Roman?
Good evening, dear Toastmaster fellows. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Roman. I'm 33 years old. I was born and lived all my life in Almaty. Therefore, major events of my life connected with the city. I grew up in ordinary Soviet family. My mom was kindergarten teacher. My father worked as minibus driver. I also have younger brother, Sergey, who is 4 years younger than me. This is my family. It's me, my parents, and my younger brother. By nationality, I am Korean. And I can tell you that in Korean families, education is one special place. I studied pretty good at school, and up to 9th grade, I finished with honor. I graduated 11th grade from another school, and I acquired certificate in accounting. After high school, I was rewarded a national grant and began study in Almaty Institute of Power and Communication. My major was thermal power plants. 90s were a difficult time for many people in our country, including our families. So, if I hadn't received a national grant, I would have continued my life without higher education. I also have basic music education in Bayan. In the first grade at school, I really wanted to play guitar, but I was quite small for guitar and I was offered to learn playing Bayan. During the year, I realized that I don't like playing Bayan. At the time when other children playing in the street, I had to practice musical skills. But my mother really wanted to see her son playing on any musical instrument, and I still wonder how she managed to persuade me to finish the music school. But I don't regret it. Even sometimes I pick up Bayan and play something. Perhaps my love towards classical music came during that time. I love to do sports very much. As I can remember, I always went to some sports clubs. In elementary school, I attended karate several years. Recently, I have discovered CrossFit, which I have practiced for a few months in new CrossFit gyms, Arlan. Personally, I appreciate aspiration to continued growth and development in people. So when I heard about Toastmasters Club, I was interested in it and came here. What I expect from being a member in this club is rise the level of my colloquial English and of course to get an experience in public speaking. I am very glad to see so many creative and interesting people in one room. Thank you for your attention.
You want to be called Ken or Roman? What is your first name?
Roman.
Roman is the first name?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Roman. Now we know you a little bit more than we did before. And thank you for sharing that your little points about your life with us. I would like to call our third speaker, Greg Heber. He will be doing his speech number 4, The Lucky Country. I can't wait to hear what he's going to talk about. But let me first tell you about what introduce you, Greg to you. I met Greg. I think he was one of the first people that I met when I joined. And I was lucky that I got to know him because he has always been very supportive, very positive. And it's only today that I find out that he is a poker player, which explains so much to me because he can say things with a poker face that I would believe to be true. He's very supportive, he's very encouraging. And he will say things like, oh, you did a great job. I couldn't have done that. And now I know how he would say that because he's a poker face. He made me believe it, actually. So he's very humble. He comes across, he has a lot of humility about himself. and which can be deceptive because I think he's a great achiever. So Greg has been in this country for about 6-7 years. His passion is racing bikes. He goes up the mountains until it's covered with snow, and then he starts playing poker in the winter time. So I look forward to his speech very much. Please welcome Greg.
It was my fault. I did ask you to make it up. So I've got too many notes here, so I'm probably going to get confused. This is not a good tip for anyone. A lucky country. A country bestowed with all of nature's natural beauty, with paradisical climate and an abundance of natural resources. This title, albeit a self-proclaimed one, is a title that was given in the 1950s to my country, to Australia. Today, while many Australians still take pride in talking or thinking about their country, I think this title, The Lucky Country, is a throwback to the past rather than being an embodiment of the present. Australia is losing some of its unique appeal, losing some of its allure. The reason, what is happening to Australia, my country, the lucky country, told you it was a bit confusing. I mixed them up now. Deeply concerns me. For me, the lucky country is more than just being about natural attributes, nature, the climate, etc. These are just things that we didn't work for. For me, the lucky country is about the story of immigrants. Immigrants who made a choice to leave their home, to uproot their families, to travel to a foreign land. Immigrants who made a choice to take a risk. A choice that the risk would pay off with hard work, sweat and tears. This is the real reason why Australia became lucky. This is the real reason why I can say I'm lucky to live in Australia, a lucky country. So what is going wrong? What is it that I'm talking about? Let me tell you. Australians, not the majority, but a not insignificant group, seem to think that by having an Australian passport or by living in Australia, it makes them a special being. It makes them think that they are above others and can look down on other groups and look down on them as being inferior. One of the results of this is that certain groups like immigrants, often get mistreated. Don't you think this is amazingly ironic? Except for the Aborigines, there's no one in Australia other than immigrants or ancestors of immigrants. This superiority complex mutates throughout society in the form of cancer, spreading in many forms, from ill will to contempt to racism to crime and violence. These signs are visible today, some just bubbling below the surface, waiting for a catalyst to ignite the tensions further. This is what is happening in Syria today may just be one of those events. This beckons the question, why? Australians, again I use that term loosely, act in a way which can only be described as self-preservation. They push back, resist and condemn everything related to immigrants. They are the ones which create and spread rhetoric about how immigrants are a burden on society, justifying this by saying that they stuck up on social security, or in fact if they do get a job, they're the ones that are taking jobs of honest, hard-working Australians. But not to be 100% critical of them, maybe it is not their fault that they are ignorant to the fact that immigrants tend to be the ones that give to society and not take. Immigrants are the people that are willing to work 3 jobs to make a life in their new country, sacrificing a lot, often leaving their dignity and pride at the door while they're taking jobs that nobody else wants. But maybe it's not their fault. Maybe this is just symptomatic of our education and social system today, that we are left breeding these ignorant and incompetent fools. Truthfully, I don't know what the reason is for what is happening to Australia today. Just like I don't know what the answer is. All I know is that this is a story which is very close to my heart. And not just because I'm Australian, but because of my roots. In the aftermath of World War II, my grandfather left his home, waved goodbye to his homeland in Holland, and set sail on a journey to Australia, in the hope and maybe the belief that there was the promised land. He took his wife and his 5 children. My mother was 12 years old, and they began a journey. While this story is special to me, it is no more special than the journey of countless other immigrants who took the same path before and after him. What is special though is the collective journeys and stories of all the immigrants. The adventures that they had, the perseverance that they displayed, the courage, the patience, everything, the blood, the sweat and the tears. All of this collectively helped make Australia what it became. I can only hope today that the actions of our nation and individuals today and in the future will not destroy what generations of immigrants fought so hard for in the making of my Australia, the lucky country.
Thank you so much, Greg. I did not know this soft side of you. I thought he was only the nice, smiling person who smiles at us because he wants our money for the club. But this was very heartfelt, and it touched my heart. And it's a problem really that upsets me every day. You watch TV, and every day it's just so heartbreaking to see these people, the immigrants, these refugees walking barefoot with swollen feet in the rain and the snow. It is heartbreaking. Thank you for bringing that to our attention and the behavior of the governments. So what we will do now is I will ask my evaluators to come please, and we will evaluate the speeches. And while we do that, I'm going to pass these out. And so please vote for whoever you think did a great job today for the speeches. So my first evaluator is Yadika. She will be evaluating speaker number 1.
Dear Elmira, I'm really happy to be your evaluator tonight, and this is a privilege given to me. And I hope you will like the evaluation and take into account all the things I say to you. First of all, let's start with the title. When I just came and looked at your title, I was a bit stunned, and to tell you the truth, I had different and not very pleasant thoughts. Oh, well, first of all, because personally I don't like the negative things in speeches, such as don't. And secondly, it was kill. And I was, oh my goodness, it's don't and it's kill. What's gonna? I was really puzzled, and I had a thought probably it's gonna be about the Syrian refugees So my real wish, because the title is the real presenter of your speech as it is of you, so please think careful about the title for the next speech. And this was your first project, so it's a real good start. The thing I really liked is how you grabbed the attention and made people, look at you and listen to you by saying wave your hand and look into the mirror, and reminder of a person himself in a mirror. You did it to me especially on purpose because I was your evaluator. I was, oh my goodness, why am I looking into that small mirror? I saw the guys, and I wanted to say I see myself and the guys. Well, but the one thing you have to understand that ice-breaking speech, the project number 1, we call it an icebreaker because this is to break an ice between you and between the audience.
Icebreaker. I had already.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So it was speech number
2, I guess.
2.
Because I thought icebreaking is first speech. This is project 1. I already.
That's why I came to you to ask about it before. I asked, is it project 1? Is it an icebreaker? Oh well. Then then my expectations were a bit wrong, because according to project number 1, which is called Organize Your Speech, we have to look into the structure. So the structure was great. The speech itself was really appealing to me because it's all about mostly children, and I have a daughter, so I had my second thoughts about my daughter. And the thing I really liked, that it was emotional, and you are so naturally using all these hand gestures, by saying, look at the child, or just think about something. And another real strong point of yours is the vocal variety you can use, because actually vocal variety is project number 6, so you are going to be really prepared for that one. What else? The nervousness we have while presenting, especially the first or second speeches, we still keep touching the table and things, and I as well did it. But you really used the space you were giving here, so my sincere congratulations once again with the project number 2, then I wish you good luck and success with the other projects. No, project 1 is icebreaker.
Yeah,
but she's doing project 2.
Yeah, we should put it in. But anyway, a little bit of. So now we have evaluator number 2, which is Ian, who will be evaluating our speaker number 2. There's an inner child, somebody's inner child.
Okay. Congratulations with your first speech. I really liked it. Great job. The very first thing I want to mention about this structure, it was really clear, opening, body, and conclusion. I think you did it very good, because first you told about yourself, about your family members, like life stages, very clear. Where did you graduate from school, Almaty Institute of Power Communication, university time, then about your interest, just very, how to say, understandable and very like a good connection between each of the stages. What did you want to deliver to the audience? And the topic was like about yourself, that's about myself, about yourself. That was clear, because we need to know about yourself, because the very ice-breaking speech, as Yadikar told, the project is about explaining to the audience who you are, why are you attending here, why do you like it, and so I think it was really clear. Then about your interest, about your karate, CrossFit, that you love sports, attending clubs, that you don't like playing bayan, we all know about that. And I just loved your one point about like aspiration to grow, to develop. It's very important to be a person, not to be just a person, but growing as a human, just developing and working on yourself. That was really good. And also you conclude your speech with expectations, like what do you expect from our club, about rights, improving your English, learning to speak in front of people, and I think you did a great job just doing your very first speech. The only thing what I want to suggest you is using less notes, but it is okay to using notes for the very first speech. So more confidence, less notes, just fighting. Good luck.
And now I'm going to ask our final evaluator, Bexar Kakmov, to please evaluate our speaker number 4, number 3, doing his speech number 4.
Okay, thank you very much for those. So let me start. I'm really amazed. I'm still under the pressure how Greg managed to give his speech today. You know, how skillfully he used all techniques, almost all techniques, while giving speech. The aim of the speech number 4 is to use simple and descriptive words to communicate clearly, to appeal to everybody's sense, and try not to use jargons. And I think in general he managed to meet all these requirements. So what I liked very much is the beginning, because he used so many descriptive words when he started describing his country. When I heard the title of the speech, I thought that he's going to talk about Kazakhstan, honestly speaking, but it turned out that it was not about it. It is his home country, which is Australia. But what I liked about his speech is voice. In spite of the fact that at the beginning he opened all his cards and he said, I prepared so many notes and I might get confused, but he managed not to get confused. And the voice was really nice. He used pauses accordingly when it is necessary. He was self-confident in spite of the fact that sometimes he got lost. And what I liked about his speech, it was very informative. He helped us to get insight into the culture of Australian people. How do they think about the way of thinking towards immigrants, newcomers. And it's a really very precious knowledge, I guess, to hear from the person who is from that country. The speech was very emotional and sincere to my mind. That's why it was very effective and touching. At least he managed to make me listen to it. At least, I cannot tell you for everybody, but it was really, I was looking at him and listening, trying to listen, because for me it's difficult to understand Australian speech. Australian people, they speak a bit differently comparing to American and British people. But in this case it was really nice and easy to follow. His speech was very well structured. He used really interesting words. He tried to compare and contrast. He said, in the form of cancer, promised land, payoffs with sweat and tears. And I will try to use these phrases later on in my speech. And he gave an example of Syria. Everybody knows what's going on in Syria. It means that he thinks about this situation, he cares about it, and it worries this person that what's going on around the world. And he managed not to use any jargons. I didn't notice any kind of words, unnecessary words. And to sum up, there is always room for development for everybody. We are not a perfect person, and this gentleman is not exception. So I would like to give him some practical recommendations to make his speech better in his next speeches. So what I would like to recommend you, to use gestures, to use your hands, try not to be static, try to use the space. You can go and come back all the time. Okay? And I would like to recommend you to work on the beginning of your speech, which is very important. It is a critical point, and try to use next time some interesting, unexpected ways of starting the speech. If you manage to do it, your speech will be #1 in all regards. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Right, now we come to the most fun part, where you get to participate, and I'm really looking forward to that. So we have our experienced, I would say, because I've sat through a session with Gover's when she was a Toastmaster and we had a ball. I know it was very well done, so I look forward to another interesting session. So Gover, please come and take the stage.
Hello everyone. I will be holding your table topics session tonight. And tonight we are focusing on the biography of a famous psychologist. For the people who don't know how this is going to work, I'm going to talk through the biography of a famous person, and I will ask questions. So you will need to make a short speech. So you have from 1 to 2 minutes. Please try to use at least one. Try to talk for at least for 1 minute. You don't need any prior knowledge on the subject, so I won't be. This is not a pub quiz. I won't be asking questions on his, when was this psychologist was born. So yes, please volunteer, and if I ask you to make a speech, please don't be afraid to. You can just smile and do your best. So tonight we're going to talk about Abraham Maslow, a famous psychologist, and I'm pretty sure most of you have heard of Maslow's pyramid or his hierarchy of needs theory. Let me just tell you a little bit about his life. He was born on April the 1st, 1908. His family name could have sounded as Maslov, which would sound more familiar to us, had not his father immigrated to the New World. Again, we're having this immigration topic tonight. His family immigrated from Russia in the beginning of the 20th century, and his parents were first-generation Jewish immigrants. They lived in New York in a poor, multi-ethnic, working-class neighborhood. So my first question is, do you think the neighborhood a person grows up in shapes his or her personality? How important do you think it is? Mirur?
Actually, I don't know my neighbors at all, yes. Maybe because I immigrate a lot, or maybe there are other reasons. But I don't think that neighbors have much influence on us as for neighbors. I mean, we live in 21st century when people try to separate as far as they can, and they just lock up on their rooms and then their flats, and they don't want to be social. Maybe they want to be social, but they want to be social in such groups like this, but not be social with their neighbors. Maybe it's just my individual opinion. So, that's
Well, I guess Mirur was lucky. Abraham was not as lucky. It was a tough time for little Abraham. He was the only Jewish boy in his school, so he experienced a lot of anti-Semitism from his teachers and from other children around the neighborhood. He had various encounters with anti-Semitic gangs who would bully him, chase and throw rocks at him. So my next question is, have you ever experienced bullying, or based on your appearance, ethnicity, hobbies, or maybe you know someone who has? How should we as a society stop bullying or discrimination? Please. Yeah. Do you want me to repeat the question? You should take my hand.
That's my first coming. Okay, firstly I wanted to ask, what does it mean bullying?
Bullying means, discriminating. It can be very violent. Let's say when you're calling someone bad names, or you're throwing rocks, or you're beating someone, that means bullying. It's like discriminate. Well, discrimination can be gentle, so like bullying is violent.
Okay. My name is Musa.
Musa?
Yes. Now, 21st century, and I think, in my opinion, nowadays a lot of violence, like bullying. I'm just getting nervous. Okay.
What's the Russian version of bullying?
Well, bullying means...
No, I know what it means in English. I've never heard.
There's no direct
translation because there is no bullying. Yeah, there is bullying, but there is no Russian translation for bullying.
Well, there's no word which is, translated directly, but it's, yeah, I would say that.
Okay. I never thought about it. But
there's no bullying in this country.
Yes, because in our country, in Kazakhstan, I never see like bullying. It's violent, but I see some discrimination. But you say that bullying is very strong violence. But I think in USA and some developing country, there are a lot of criminals. Criminals, I think that government should take control and should stop for it. That's it.
Well, the tension outside his home was also felt within it. He rarely got along with his family. He had a difficult relationship with his father. According to Maslow's recollections, his father loved whiskey, women, and fighting, and regarded his son as ugly and stupid. His father's comments negatively impacted his self-image. Because he too thought of himself as disgusting, when he was riding on the subway, he would always look for empty cars so that nobody would be disgusted by his looks. What is your perception of beauty? Does your opinion depend on other people's opinion? Dorian?
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. What is your perception of beauty? Does your opinion on beauty depend on other people's opinion?
Good evening, everybody. Yes, I think not only my perception of beauty depends on others' opinion, because I read one article that people perception of people depends on words and opinions of others. For example, if everybody of you will say that, for example, this bird is beautiful, I will also accept your opinion. So yes, I think my opinion depends on social media and other stuff like that.
Well, his relationship with his mother was even worse. Abraham never loved her and did not even attend her funeral. At the impressionable age of 17, Maslow enrolled at the City College of New York. In an effort to please his father, he registered for evening classes at the Brooklyn Law School in 1926. Within 2 weeks, he discovered that law was not for him, and he departed the school. and in 1927 he transferred to Cornell University. And an introductory course of psychology which he took was very dull and temporarily discouraged him from his passion, and he lost his love for psychology. At the end of semester at Cornell, he returned to New York and re-enrolled at City College again. Then he transferred to the University of Wisconsin in 1928, and then there he acquired his BA, his MA, and his PhD. What would you say to someone who is lost, someone who's trying to find his career, someone who's, wayward? Yeah, sure.
I don't know about what you would say to somebody like that, but I would say to this guy, he's one sick puppy. I don't know him, but as I listen to his story, I'm thinking, somewhere along the way, it's going to get better. Maybe his father doesn't love him, but his mother is going to love him. It just gets worse and worse. He's one sick puppy. I don't know if there's any hope for him. He's been picked on by the kids. What do you say to a person like that? That was your question. What do you say to him? I would say give up hope, man. If your mother doesn't love you, for heaven's sakes, take the worst criminals in the world, to the worst criminals in the world, and the murderers, and the rapists, and the arsonists, and you say to them, your mother, and tears will flow down their faces. Your mother is so precious. It's your mother, for heaven's sakes. There's nothing more cuddlier and softer and special than your mother, and if he doesn't love his mother, I am sorry, there is no hope for him. I cannot say anything, but I'm sure somewhere along the way, maybe he will find another mother, like your mother of his kids, somebody he can love, because this kid is so devoid of love right now that he has to. And what I would say is, to a person like that, wayworn person like that, I would say, look, you are at the bottom of the heap. You can only go up. So look up and smile.
I think Maria has a very good intuition because she's a mother. I think people who have children have a good intuition because in 1928, Abraham Maslow married Bertha Goodman, his longtime sweetheart and his first cousin. He was 20 years old while his Bertha was 19 at the time. And he was saying that his marriage was the true beginning of his life. And they remained happily married until his death. So what is the key to the happy marriage or the happy family? Olga?
A few days ago, I heard about one phrase, like, if your wife is stupid, then the husband becomes a philosopher. Maybe Maslow's wife was a very clever woman who inspired him to be successful, to believe in himself, to do this hierarchy of needs. He's like psychologist, and maybe she influenced him a lot. So, and after all of the struggle in his life, he achieved that love and success in his life. And so, they're always rewarding. Yeah, struggle is rewarded by his wife. So probably wife was really clever, understandable, supportive. So maybe, yeah, that's it.
Are there any other volunteers? Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Are you married? What is the key to the happy marriage or family?
I think in my opinion, I think the key of marriage, of happy marriage, is understanding each other, and I think the wife should I should have obedience, the absolute obedience in front of in this case, I think by having this obedience, I think the wife should be wise. And in our culture, there's a phrase, and there is phrase like the horse man is better than women with gold head. With gold head, like this. So, I mean when the wife, when the happy between marriage, between couple, no, how to say. Between wife and husband, when there is a harmony between the relationship, I think they together achieve the harmony of relationship by showing respect to each other. I think they can have opportunity to save feelings between us, between them.
I have another opinion, and I think it's different. Yes, please.
I met it, it's spicy.
Say it.
Yes,
I hope it's not about obedience.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak out now. Actually, I got married 2 years ago, and before getting married, my opinion, my idea of having a happy marriage was almost the same like the gentleman's, but once I got married, it totally changed. I've recently read that you shouldn't discuss three things. Your children, because it's yours, your wife, because it's your choice, and your house, because you have built it or you have bought it. So it's just an introduction. And as for me, to have a happy marriage, first of all, there should be trust. Trust is very critical in a relationship. Secondly, but not least important, it is mutual understanding. And there shouldn't be absolute obedience, you know. I used to think like that before, but she's also a person. She has feelings, she has ambitions, she wants something, yes? You shouldn't consider your wife as like a lower in all regard. She's like you. Maybe she doesn't have education, maybe she doesn't speak 10 languages like you speak, but still it's your choice. You should respect, trust each other, and help as much as possible in any cases. Only in this case you might have harmony. Many people may say that the most important thing to have a happy marriage is a feeling, love, and so on. But love comes to your house and lives, but you get hungry every day. It means that you should be very fundamental, practical in relationship, which means that there are very key values like, as I told you, trust, mutual understanding to my mind, and mutual support whenever it's necessary. Thank you.
That is very well said. Maslow's contribution to psychology is very impressive. He felt that all of psychology pessimistically portrayed humans because it centered on their negative and animalistic aspects. So he designed a theory that would include both the positive and negative aspects of human beings. And you probably heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is my not so attractive sketch of the pyramid. So you know that at the bottom of the pyramid there are basic needs, then there comes safety, love, knowledge, self-esteem, and on the top there's a self-actualization, which means if all of those needs are met, then the person comes to self-actualization. So this is the top of his pyramid. How do you understand self-actualization? Yes, please.
Can I use it?
Sure.
Well, to me it's not just these things. Why these physiological things take the biggest part is that because we are human beings, we live in a physical world, and we have to know what our body needs. It needs to eat at least 3 times a day, it needs to drink, and all these activities which help us to support our body and live, they take a really huge amount of time of our life, yeah? Especially like having a night dream. It is as minimum like 8 hours per day. So that's why this is basic. And for me, self-actualization is the top, and it takes the smallest part because it's really difficult to achieve. And why this is the hierarchy? Because you have to achieve it step by step, right? So for me, self-actualization, it is, of course, when the person clearly understands everything about himself, what he is doing in his life and with his life, and what he is in different relationships and roles, as were said by someone here before, and what his mission is. So different people call it different names. Someone would say lesson of life, someone would say the mission of life, and you heard this word karma, the lesson you have to do because this is your destiny. So all these things are here. This is the self-actualization. But in order to achieve this level, of course, the knowledge is really important part. The knowledge is the part where you learn about yourself a lot, and you learn about the life around you, right? So yeah, I really like this, you know. And thank you.
Yes, I am so sorry. I should go back and I think we're. Thank you so much. We still have the reports to go. I just realized that we are pretty much where we should be by now. So I'm going to ask for my reports to come up, please, and please be just very on time. Yes, please. Our counter. Give
Can I
us.
just stand here? Or?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for their great speeches. So let's start with Roida. Roida, you have said 2 times R and 1 time. Elmira said 1 time R. Roman said 2 times R, 5 times R, and 1 filler word. So Greg didn't use any filler words. Gauhar said 10 times R, 5 times R, and 3 times M. Nirwet said 3 times R, 1 time and 5 times R. Musa said 6 times and 10 times R. Me, I said, I don't know what I said. Maybe I also did mistakes. Bagdaulet said 5 times. Oh, I didn't write. So Badikar said 16 times R, 5 times M, 5 times R, and she used 1 filter word, well. I said 9 times M, 11 times R, 3 times M, and 3 times R. And Bigzot just said 5 times R.
We don't have time?
We have one.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, that's fine. We will not, I've run out of the stickers, so we will not go for the, I think everybody who came up here and spoke is a winner. As far as I'm concerned, they're a winner. So they did a really good job. We will have a report from our timer now.
Roman you all tried to follow the time, so thank you for that. But we started our meeting a little bit late at 7:40, and introduction was presented for 10 minutes. Then Elmira, our first speaker, she was talking for 6 minutes, and Roman for 4 minutes and 40 seconds. You both were presenting ice-breaking speech, so it's out of time. Next time, try to follow cards of timer. Greg did perfect job for 7 minutes, and that was your limit, so congratulate you. Yutakar, as evaluator, did 3 minutes and 58 seconds, and it's out of time because it was 3 minutes. Aim, you made evaluation for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Good job. Bigzo did his evaluation for 3 minutes and 28 seconds, so it's a little bit out of time. Gauhar started her table topic session, and the whole table topic session was for 20 minutes, and that's perfect. As table topic speakers, Miruet did her speech for 50 seconds, but the minimum of speech should be 1 minute, so next time try to speak until you see the green card. Musa did his speech for 1 minute and 45 seconds, and that's a great job. Dorian spoke for 1 minute and 7 seconds, so great job. Rita spoke for 1 minute and 40 seconds, great job. Aim spoke for 56 seconds, and you didn't reach the minimum of time limit. Bagdauliet spoke for 1 minute and 43 seconds, great job. Bigzot spoke for 1 minute and 42 seconds. And Yehari spoke for 2 minutes, and that's the maximum limit of ice-breaking speakers. And a counter report was for 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Thank you so much. Can I please call my grammarian now? Donald, if you could come us and tell us where we have been bad and where we have been good. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, at least I want to thank you for this wonderful level of English. And I want to thank personally Roida and Gauhar for using the word of the day. It was used only twice, but I really appreciate it. So to begin with, speaker wonder number 1. You said prove all of you. I think it's better to say prove to all of you because it's transitive. You say in the airport, it's better to say at the airport. And you say different language, but in this context, I think it's better to use in different language, and also to the US, because so when it's you say usually the US. Speaker number 2, teacher at the kindergarten has one special place. I think you didn't use has. And also, I like this word bayan, but I think in English it's accordion. It's one word for 2 words. Yeah, because in Russian it's 2 words, but in English it's 1. And also, speaker number 3, I think did a perfect job, but only once I kind of couldn't hear when you were saying like help make. I think it's better to say help to make. Other than that, it was perfect. Evaluator number 1, think careful. I think it's better to say think carefully. And look at the mirror. Evaluator number 2 was perfect, except for one word. You say conclude. I think it's, when we are talking about the past, it's better to say concluded. Evaluator number 3. We are not, you were saying at the end of the speech, we are not a perfect person. I think you were talking about many people, so it's better to say we are not perfect people or individuals. And use pause. I think you can use it, but it's better to say pause. Use it as a verb. So impromptu speaker number 1. You said I immigrated a lot, but I think you meant I moved a lot or I migrated from place. Immigrate means to move to a different country, and also separate from each other. And you just said separate each other. Impromptu speaker number 2. You said it 21st century. I think it's better to say it is 21st century. Impromptu speaker number 3. You said everybody of you. I think it's better to say every one of you. And also you said social media. I think you meant societies. So it's like.
No, I meant social media.
Social media. Okay, no problem. Table topic master. Also, you said chase, but you were talking about the past. I think it's better to say chased. And departed from the school. You just said departed the school. So also impromptu speaker number 4. Good job. At least I didn't notice any mistakes. Impromptu speaker number 5. You said do this hierarchy of needs. I think it's work on this hierarchy of needs or reach the hierarchy of needs. Impromptu speaker number 6. Between two, you said between two people or something like that. I think it's better to say between two persons or individuals. Impromptu speaker number 7, Exot, again. You said kids, it is yours or something like that. I think it's better to say they are yours. And finally, I didn't catch it. You said night rain or something like that. I didn't hear. You didn't say sleep. I noticed like you said night dream. Night dream or something like that.
Dream at night.
Dream at night. I think it's better
have a
to
night
say.
dream.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's better to say
It's not the
sleep.
same as sleep. No, come on, it's not the same.
We can discuss it later. Other than that, everything was perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those useful pointers and suggestions. I'd like to announce the winner of the speeches today, the prepared speeches. Our winner is Almira. No, it's okay. We're running out of time. Before I sign off, I think we can do a general evaluation just among ourselves. It was a wonderful session. We had fantastic speakers, great evaluators, a great Toastmaster. I mean, what else can you want? This was a great session. So what I need to do now is, sign up some people for next week. So do we have speakers for next week?
We have one speaker for next meeting.
We have one speaker. So we need 2 more speakers for next week. Go her. Speech number?
3.
Okay. And we need another speaker. Anybody else? Okay. We got 2 more.
Okay.
3 more.
You sign both. Backup.
All right.
Week after.
I am?
Week after. Backup.
Oh, next week after.
Yeah.
And me also week after.
Please tell me your name. You're so well covered. I cannot find it. Asen. Asen. Okay, Asen. I'm too old to remember my own name, so I'm sorry. A week after.
Merit next week.
Merit next week. M.I.
Yeah, it's written on the board. The first one.
You want me to look back? All right. And that's what speech number?
1 maybe.
So this is your icebreaker?
After. So it's a project number 1.
Project number 2. Project number 2. So then do we have any people who will take the role? We need to I think we need to fill all the roles. Toastmaster. Who wants to choose? Okay, how about evaluators? Who wants to evaluate?
Me.
Yeah, I think our evaluator.
Yeah.
Greg. Olga. Okay, so we have 3 evaluators. And then a Toastmaster. Who wants to be the Toastmaster? Come on guys, this is fun! You get to stand here and everybody listens to you. What else do you want?
I want to be a table topics.
Alright, tabletop and let me have it.
Valerian. Okay. I can't be a table
Has to be
Has to be a member. We need a member to be a table topics master.
So maybe Tom or Anya, or we can discuss it later.
Alright, so should I let it go?
Yeah.
Alright guys, thank you so much for coming. I declare the session closed.